we got to train people. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, totally. So how many people remember the first really large database? Remember when and who?
I think it was AOL, right? The first really big one.
The first really big one that was financially was Access. Yeah, so in '98. And so a bunch of us shipped a bunch of people down to Little Rock, Arkansas. I got to spend a glorious several months down there kind of sorting through what had happened and how to resolve from it. So that was really sort of the first one. And at that point in time, we said, look, this is going to continue to happen. So how do we deal with it? And I think that's part of the challenge, was really figuring out what's the best way to deal with it. And, I love the term zero trust. There's no such animal. And we are in a risk business. We are not in a no-risk business. If we weren't, we wouldn't be lending money. And we wouldn't be doing financial transactions. But managing that risk to an appropriate level. And the appropriate level is different depending on who you are, your background, and your thought processes. So that's how a lot of people pick it. I think we had this thing as, the financial breach in 2008. Yeah, people still drag that stuff out, but things are doing well again. Why? Because people have a short-term memory. Some people don't, and they won't trust the memory. But most people, after Axiom, we learned that the long time, or the average time that people remember is about a year, and then they go away. They still remember it, sort of, and then somebody brings it up, but no, it's doing fine. So there's a lot of things in this we have to understand and figure out how do we manage that. And I think, again, what's the best approach? And again, this depends upon you personally. So let's get back into, what your point is that we have to train people to understand their risk tolerance and really help them, and it has to be simple and easy, and help them do that. But we also need to be driving the technology and the tools and processes, you can't forget the processes, to help make this stuff simpler and easier for us to deal with, rather than being out there just letting it happen. I do have to say one more thing, because I thought it was pretty funny. I heard this the other day. My uncle is a corporate lawyer in New York, and he was chiding us on, that the U.S. Treasury bailed out all the big banks. I remember when we were going through that in 2008, 2009, so the dollar started rolling out, and I worked for another financial institution, and they were paying $700 million a quarter on their borrowing. You realize that the U.S. Treasury made $174 billion off of the bank as part of that, and the lending? And I'm going, why couldn't I get a piece of that action? They should have collateralized it, and I could have lost money.
I think two things that...
It was a bad event. It should never have happened. But
I think two things that is happening now that is different is, one, we're bringing more people into a digital space that's never been there before. So an example of that, with CapWay, we target areas where even like the Times and the Symbols don't go. So we're going to go to Delta, Mississippi, and we're going to go to Fargo, Arkansas, that nobody probably ever been to. Before that, everybody next to was probably banking with like a community bank. They weren't banking. Most community banks don't even have an app. They do. It's like the same white label app that everybody uses. So now you're also bringing an entire new segment into a digital economy that was never there before. So you have that happening. And then you do have the cashless economy where things such as like this morning I read what McDonald's is going to kiosk for the next few years. So you walk in, you don't pay, you don't go to the cashier and pay for your burger. You go to a little machine and you have to put a card in, which you have to eventually be able to get some form of a card payment because you can't pay cash for it.
Really quickly on the McDonald's one, if you're forced to use the cute little kiosk, take one of your Clorox wipes with you.
So I think from a security point of view, though, I think those types of things are going to be major in what's going to happen from a security point of view. So once again, once you have a whole new segment comes to the digital economy, and then now you're forced pretty much to go use kiosk machines or certain things, what we use every day.
So real quickly, everybody familiar with a lot of the movement in the vending industry to move to cashless payments? They really want you to use your Apple Pay or all of that. Anybody have any ideas why?
Not have to restock.
You don't have to deal with the coins, but it was theft. and loss of coinage by people who collected all the cash. It removed that entirely.
That money
So now
at
just-
the till, you lose a lot of money
Yeah,
in
so
the
there's
till.
quite a bit that,
The records doing a smash and grab on the
Exactly.
ATM.
So I wanted to just kind of throw in a comment from a vendor perspective, right? So we see, multiple clients, and a lot of times deal with, all kinds of different approaches to breach and internal management of it. And to your point, Ken, I think the things that I've seen the most successful are those companies that embrace it as everyone in this company owns the problem, right? Where so one of the company's names that was mentioned earlier who had a bad breach, really everybody kind of pointed at one guy who's now making a lot of money off what happened to him. But my point is, I think where I've seen the most successful companies deal with issues, even ones that are in the public domain, right, everybody knows about, are those that embrace it wholeheartedly. We own this together, and they get in front of it. And so to Ken's point, I really think that the companies that are educating not just their own employees, but their customers and their customers' customers, and further having their own supply chains are the ones I think that are dealing with those most successful.
I agree, and that's the point is it's not shameful and oh my goodness, we don't want anybody to ever find out that I had a breach because I must be awful at this. It's more judged on, am I transparent? Can I speak to either what we had or what we will have, or, hey, we missed this one. It's always the sophisticated hacker, right? We always take security very seriously. Now what am I going to do differently?
The problem is, it's never the sophisticated hacker, it was the person who clicked on the phishing email and gave up their credentials and looked like the normal activity that lost all the data, and we can't respond to that.
It almost comes across as an insider threat at that
Well,
point.
it is an insider threat, but it's an unintentional
Correct.
insider threat, right? And the problem we deal with that is if it looks like it's supposed to be happening, and it's happening with authorized credentials, all the tools we have are designed to pick up when somebody's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So it makes it a little more difficult, because you asked this question earlier, one of our biggest concerns is the lack of user awareness that they're clicking on and giving away their access, right? Whether it's malicious or unintentional, that is the hardest thing for us to defend.
So with Robbie's point about not having a Facebook account, the people that do have one and now choose to delete it or have.
It's out there,
Right.
Yeah, that horse is out of the barn, yeah.
The right to be forgotten. So we're seeing regulations and legislations come up, and with institutions that deal directly with the consumer, it's easier than with Equifax or these third
So
parties.
here's the deal. You think about any of these large companies that have been collecting data on you for 20 years. Do you think they know where all your data lives?
No. In fact, does anybody know what the largest breach this year was? It was a little company called, I think it's called Verifications.io.
Yeah.
And it was, billions of it was a little server out somewhere in the internet that was just validating your identity, had no protection on it whatsoever. It was just, kind of like one of those little editing.
And you look right now too, if you look at some of the numbers that we're starting to see coming in from GDPR, since it's been in effect for, long enough now, the request for be forgotten and the request for all the data that you have on me, pretty small number. Most people are not even bothering. And the biggest deal is that there was an article that came out right around, I want to say it was probably April, maybe March, April time frame of this past year, right before GDPR went into effect. There was a journalist in the UK, she asked for all of the information that, I think it was, tendered. She was tendered. She asked for all the information that they had on her. Well, the problem is when she got the 1,800 pages of data, because we gave it to her, it went out to Facebook, Instagram, because she didn't realize how much it was tied into all, because most people nowadays, when they see that handy little button that says, oh, I want to set up a new login account, they click on that, use my Instagram, use my Facebook, use my LinkedIn, right? So, and they're all tied together in the back end, so your data is, that's why it's almost impossible for them to be able to tell you where, even if they delete you from Facebook, it doesn't mean you were deleted from Instagram. It doesn't mean you were deleted from anything else, Pinterest, any of that stuff that's tied together, right? That barn, like I said, the horse is out of the barn. If you've got an online presence, it's out there. The old saying goes, once it's on the internet forever. It is.
You know, one of the commentators in the DEFCON, break-up conference last Vegas, I had the chance to visit the DEFCON conference. They talk about the machine learning, AI.
Machine learning and AI.
Solution because back to 80s, 90s, AI totally different what you talk about AI now because you processing power, GPU, and all kind of data. But I think machine learning may be a solution.
So machine learning could be a solution, but then you're in the same space. How do I really know it's you at that endpoint? Because you can, authenticate me in different countries as well.
It gets back to, we use AML a lot on a lot of different things, and this is one of the, certainly things like card fraud, you've got things like Falcon, which have been around forever, and they continuously improve it, so we've got some tools that go away on top of it. So we make a risk-based decision of, is that you? And that's really, risk to the point, is what's our confidence level, probably that term. And so about a certain threshold on that, then we've got it. So again, it's really massaging all of the information that we have, plus what we know about what your things are. So, like say I went to Tanzania last year and didn't tell them I was going, and because I'd been to other weird countries and stuff like that, they didn't question it. But again, it's going back and understanding payments is also looking at things like, believe it or not, Facebook, LinkedIn, where are you logging into, where are you accessing those, that we're able to pull a lot of that information together. Google recently has now required that you do all of your AIML stuff on things like DoubleClick and stuff like that at Google. You can't download it to massaging. So, a lot of concern on our part around what they're doing with it, what we find, and how they're dealing with it as well.
It's a never-ending story. It's true.
What about
The criminals have already got the AI machine.
They are. We're seeing attacks that are shifting and moving faster than a human can. And so, there is a little bit of an arms race there.
It's a lot less expensive to do it when you stolen all the credit cards and paid for it out on Google. And
You don't have to go in front of a budget committee and get it approved.
They really are a lot more expensive than we are. Right, and that's what it comes down to. They have an unlimited budget because they're using money that's not theirs to start with. They're much more agile, so we don't have to deal with all the red tape and overhead and other things that we have to deal with. And, the bad thing is not to pick on our MSSP friends in the room, but the bad thing is we're now seeing the tools that we're paying for to use to help protect us being automated and used against us because it's a trusted connection, and now our tools have been weaponized against us. And if you've got something that's supposed to have 100% visibility into everything in your network, and it's authorized access, and now it's attacking you, you're behind the eight ball.
Jumping back to your, you've been trying to for quite a while.
No, I was going to ask about unreported breaches.
Unreported breaches?
Yeah, so Paul, I know we had one for that class as well. What I haven't seen is a company reporting that breach twice.
Oh.
So it's been like a one-time thing.
They do a one-time report of a breach, but they've never reported a breach twice.
Well, not only that, but just in general, like what constitutes me reporting it publicly, right? I mean, is it
typically, in most companies, they have to determine really quick whether there's a material impact.
Yeah.
And material impact to their shareholders or to their customers, and they are supposed to have a certain window of time to...
It depends on the state. It depends on every state on what that threshold is. That 3,800 number you brought up is way low because most small businesses that get cops, one, they probably don't know that they're cops. Number two, is they really don't have any reason that they have to report it. I would say there's a much larger amount of unreported breaches than that 3,800, and most times it's gonna be some kind of small business that has no obligation to do the report. If you're a publicly traded company, or even if you're a large private company, there's a certain threshold that attorneys general say you must report in a state, and it does go state by state.
And on the federal side, and the financial services are size of breach, the time requirements, like less than 72 hours, that kind of stuff.
Once it's been identified as a
But
breach,
again,
there's the whole little language in it, because
that's the
you
question.
can play around with it enough to go, well, was it a breach?
Or
was it an incident?
Robert's comment about it being material, they've already been breached, all the material information has already been, it's already out there, so is it really material, if they get breached, because it's already out there?
Yeah, it is every time.
It depends on the volume, because there's, basically based a lot off the dollar value of the record.
I don't say the B word.
Yeah.
That's really
Because you're scared of it, or you don't?
it's really a legal definition.
Okay.
Yeah, you've never
So
put that in
my
any-
job is to prosecute the technology, figure out what's happening, establish the facts, and contain it. So, what you're talking about, Ray, is where that decision is made is in the C-suite and with the legal team, based on federal and state regulations and, customer relations and, contractual agreements and all that kind of stuff. It's not down in the security team. Usually we provide the facts of the situation, and the C-suite and the legal team decides how to handle it.
You go through the whole, this is interesting. This is an event. This may be an incident. Then you start emailing through your lawyer.
It kind of changes the form. But even some companies are having to report just system outages. Because sometimes the system outage is also another form of a breach or an incident, depending on the level.
I think that's interesting, because 10 years ago, trying to get IT operations to bring in security, when I said that, the CIA triad, right, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, that availability was the security concern, they told me to pound sand and get out of the room.
That's changed.
Now apparently they want me back in the
They
room.
want you in the room, they actually want to hold you accountable.
Yeah, they want to make it my fault now.
Exactly, they gotta have you in the room for somebody to blame.
Designated
We
target.
have one over here.
So I think I'm the only non-technical person in the room, and I have to make this.
I don't think so, Dan's right next to you.
He's not very smart.
I just thought that was an easy one. He was listening, it was just a listening thing.
This conversation has been so incredibly interesting, eye-opening, and scary at the same time. Why are we not teaching our kids about this in elementary school?
But it goes back to why I had Sheena here, because she really is trying to do something different.
I totally
She's
get
really
it.
trying to bring financial literacy in the elementary schools at those young ages, so that because in that social dynamic, that our kids are growing up digital and growing up in that social exchange, and so free to share information, that they don't understand the basic, I would call it just hygiene of protecting your identity and financial.
And I will say that I'm actually working with, there's a small group of us too, but I'm working with, like you said, because I went to high school with the superintendent of my school system. I am talking to him about getting some of us in to speak, at least at the middle school level, because that's it.
It should be happening younger. I mean, my kids are on their iPads, on their new games called Roblox, and they're accepting friends.
It should be with getting into those environments.
There's been a speaker forum sponsored by the GBI for years, 15 plus years I've been a member of it, right? So there are absolutely people that will come out and speak to community groups, schools, whatever. I've done it, I do it. One of the most effective security awareness, if you guys take nothing back to your companies, nobody wants to watch their company's security awareness every year, the mandated security awareness. True story, I was on a conference call recently, And, we had it on in the room, and we're listening, we're like, what is that in the background? And there was somebody who was talking with the security team. And in the background, we could hear the security awareness playing, that they had just left play while they were talking to us because they had to get through their annual training so that it shows completed. Right now, I'm sure that they were not the only ones. They were just not the brightest ones that did it while they were on the phone with us. But
You can actually hear
we could hear in their
the security
background.
awareness video while you were on a
We could hear the
conference call.
narrator from the security awareness background coming through the conference phone, and we muted, and we're looking at each other like, are they for real? Like, do they not know what we do for a living? So.
That's that person who clicks reply all when you say no.
Yeah, we had somebody this morning that clicked the link, and, it didn't work, so we clicked it 11 more times. So, you know, sometimes people just don't know. They don't know, right? So, one of the most effective security awareness I've ever seen is you say, hey, we're going to have a session on keeping your teenagers safe on the internet. Okay, people will elbow each other out of the way to get to that session. You can give some tools. Pro tip, it's all the same thing you want your employees to do, but they'll show up and hear about it, about their kids, because they care about it. A previous company I worked for, I did this. We pushed out the standard company awareness stuff. Zero interaction for me. Nobody knew who I was in the hallway. Nobody cared who I was in the hallway. After I did keep your kids safe on the internet, it was a packed room. People stayed after to ask me questions. People stopped me in the hall and said, hey, I just got a new whatever insert device here. How do I set it up? Or what are some tools? Or can you help me figure this out? I got more engagement from the employees in general because everybody's worried about it. We're worried about our kids. This is not the world we grew up in. It's different. And so that's a real positive way to engage people to both help them, you know, genuinely with their families, and then they carry all that stuff back into work.
I mean, I would say, three quick things. One, coming from Silicon Valley where a lot of the technology is created, of course, they don't even allow their kids to use the technology. So, most people don't know that, but I guarantee you they're not allowing their kids to touch things they're creating. So all of our kids are like using, my nephew has an iPad, he had one when he was 3. I guarantee you Steve Jobs' daughter probably have, if it was the case, probably wouldn't have had an iPad at 3. Because they know the dangers from mind to behavior. They know what comes along with it. So there's actually a campaign called Wait Till 8. And it was started out in the valley where like they don't allow their kids to touch any type of technology until 8th grade. So one, they know what it does. Two, I actually did a talk in 5 high schools early this year where I talked exactly about this. And everybody in the audience, their face was like, so they were asking questions like, so does Facebook know everything that I do? Yes. I believe my message though is fine. No. Like just simple things that they think that they can do the messages and nobody knows about it. Oh, I don't use Facebook, I use Snapchat because it erases in 24 hours. No, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with it. So they don't know. They think that most parents think that they're going to delete whatever and it's going to be fine. So you're correct. They actually have no clue. And the third thing I'll say, even for us in collecting data and trying to get to better security measures for even kids. I remember early this year, I think it's a Robin story. We had a meeting with FICO. I have no problem saying. We had a meeting with FICO, and the thing that I was trying to get over to FICO was we target an audience who have either been in banking desert or left on the outside of traditional banking for various reasons. So we see a lot of 18-year-olds, 25-year-olds who come through CapWay, and they have bad credit. Well, they don't have bad credit because they did something wrong. They have bad credit because their mom put the cable in their name at 7. And so my question to FICO was, with all the technology that we have today, why is that possible? And they said, oh, well, you can freeze your child's credit. I said, well, the parent is using the credit. Clearly, they're not going to freeze their child's credit.
It's very hard to do that to your kid's credit, though.
Well, I mean, that was their answer. They were like, oh, they just freeze. And I was like, well, the parent is using it, they're probably not going to freeze it. And they said, oh, well, they can, we have paperwork they can fill out to pretty much turn their parents into fraud. I was like, most people are going to send their parents into fraud, just being honest. I said, the question is, I'm just trying to figure out why does the system not red flag a 7-year-old sign up for cable? Because I don't know what these 7-year-olds are going to sign up for cable and pay for it. So that should be a red flag. So it's those type of things that at CapWay we're trying to work with.
It's just that little thing is like I certified when I'm 18 years old and you click on that.
Yeah.
Just a validation for you. So there are a couple of things out there. There are several industry activities that are going on. ABA, American Bankers Association, financial services, well, they're not financial services roundtable anymore, but there's this organization for your kids. There's an industry-wide trade group that deals called Stay Safe Online. So during Information and Security Awareness Month, May, October. Yeah, it just passed. I should have known that.
You should have been aware.
Because I had to do my annual information security training, and I got 80%. Actually, I got 100%. But so there are tools that are out there. There are a lot of us, so you've heard some of that in here that work together with things. There's the several different groups sponsored by local security organizations that will go to schools. It's amazing when you walk into a high school, how much, getting their attention first, and then when you start talking about, understand that everything you're doing on there is going to somebody else. It's not on my side. It's amazing. But again, so there are some tools out there for doing that. We've tried to continue to push that within the industries in which we're in addition to the overall. So Microsoft is a big sponsor of Stay Safe Online. Google was, I honestly don't know how much they're engaged in it, Apple, a bunch of others. So again, it's really trying to do that and provide at least a basis for education. But the hard part is getting people to actually go out and walk into the schools, to walk into, we've done them in churches, which is actually a really good setting. And we get a lot of people working there, and then just social organizations as well.
The other tool that I've teamed up with too is actually Indeed. One of the guys from Indeed, because we're taking them into the high schools to go, okay, here's the cybersecurity part, but if you want a job, here's all the stuff you should stop doing on social media right now, right? And trying to help them understand that, because so it is getting earlier and earlier in that career, getting them to groom themselves in their online persona if they're going to have one, and they're going to, right? But
Actually told a school that said, you want to get another McDonald's. McDonald's literally has a social media manager who looks at everybody's social media that applies for a job. It's like, no, they don't. Actually, there's an actual job script in job now with my job to go look at your social media and when you apply here. So it's serious. And they can make like $6,000 a year.
You'd be shocked if you have a Facebook account. Go on Facebook and search your company name and just cruise through there, and I guarantee you there's an employee doing something crazy that you can see that their profile is public.
oh, you don't even gotta go to Facebook, just go to LinkedIn. Which is supposed to be professional, right?
I mean, every time somebody does something, the first thing they do is they go bombard the person's job on social media. Like, if you see your person did this and this viral video, they go find their job. And they always go at the job, and you get the person is fired or, so social media is super powerful.
Don't forget about the low tech. My wife's firm caters to nonprofits, and one of the people got what looked like a legitimate vendor bill online. It was perfect, and it came from the right email address, changed it to the billing, to the bank account number, and they paid it. And another one got a legitimate, what looked like a legitimate email from one of our people, wanting to change their bank account for payroll.
Well, think about that's been happening
Food things
for a while.
been happening quite a while.
Well, now we got the voice. Now the voice, what people used to think the voice recognition was the way to do it, and now that can be switched too. So they just had that happen with the CEO, who they had recording of the CEO's voice, and they got them to wire a rather large sum of money by validating it was their voice over a phone system.
So guys, we're kind of closing down on the panel, and we're going to let them eat, and then we're going to have two of our other pitches that we still have for from the certainty challenge that I want you guys to see. I'd like to kind of do a fast round of kind of really rapid kind of things. Just top of mind.
Something that you can.
Okay. Did you want fast? I seen him run in here really fast. He ran in here really fast earlier.
Because my watch works.
So I used to play this O and A ain't it awful, but, we're not playing that game today. The thing that you're hearing is, a lot of people say, I want to protect my data. Your data is already out there. The question is your data intelligent enough to know not to do certain things? And two, are there some things that I should be doing on a regular basis as an individual to make sure that not more of my data gets out? So, there are certain things you live by. When I think about some of the things that I live by is, I change my passwords a lot. And some people think I forget them a lot, but I don't. I just change them a lot because, if anything, that's the one place that you can really get hit. And then I've seen people that don't change their passwords at all. And so that's just one thing I live by. I make sure everything in all of my accounts, everything is changed. And I don't keep my passwords in Password Keeper. So I have this thing in my head that says, if I'm centralizing anything that's key to me, it's going to be a place where there's going to be an attack. So I have this little problem with, no, I'm not going to use LifeLock because now LifeLock's got all my information in one place with a whole bunch of other people. So that's going to be a target for some nefarious activity, so I don't want to be part of that. But those are just my mental paranoia. So I just kind of like to run down the line and see, what do you kind of live by in this space since you are a security professional?
So just like you put the alarm sign in front of your house so that the burglars go to the next house over, you got to do the same thing in the digital world. So set up multi-factor authentication on every single place where it's possible. And if you can do it via an app instead of SMS, that's even better. If you are the technical person in your house, help the non-technical person. If you're the non-technical person, ask the technical person to set this up every single place that it can. And then long passwords would be the other suggestion. So I do use a password keeper. And what I do with that though is I generate random passwords via that password keeper that are exceptionally long as the site will allow, and it's a different one for every single site. So multi-factor authentication, use unique passwords between sites, and don't go on autopilot. You really have to pay attention.
Thank you.
For me, desktop and phone, I never do save my information for like certain websites. Like you go to Wells Fargo or their website, they ask you like to save your username and password. No, I never do that. So if somebody ever gets to my phone or my computer, they just can go type in my save username and it pops up. So I don't do that.
That's a good part. A couple things to think about is back to the password keepers. If you do use one, unfortunately, we did a little survey just internally within a group that wasn't focused on security, and the passwords to their password keeper was things like their social security numbers, little crap like that. But again, back to use multi-factor. Be careful what you do with that multi-factor. I've got a cell phone that isn't registered other than it's actually the phone number and the registration's in a different state. And so the multi-factor stuff comes to that. There's no attribution. I don't publish it anywhere. If you go in the telco, you can probably pull that data back. I would encourage people to leverage one of the credit reporting agencies. They already have your data. That's not an issue. Leverage their reporting because they're doing the reporting so they can provide us with information on creditworthiness. Leverage those. I have discovered stuff, just through using it. And unfortunately, I've had the opportunity, we've had the opportunity, with OTM breaches and things like that, as well as many of the credit reporting agencies have had issues and then they'll just dump down the list. And I found things, which is really helpful. So, you change those and move forward. So.
I echo everything they said. That is great stuff, especially on the password thing. If every IoT device you have in your house, put it on a separate guest network other than with a computer that you do your business on, right? The average web camera or some device like that popped in about 2 minutes after it goes online. So if that's on the same network, and then most people nowadays have a wireless network at home, and then at least have a guest and a non-guest, separate that. Freeze your credit. If you're not doing a bunch of stuff, freeze credit, like you said, check the credit reports and validate that you don't own a house somewhere that you didn't know you own. Those are probably some of the biggest things I'd say on top of all the password stuff, because if you're using a financial institution that doesn't offer MFAs, stop using them.
All right, so thank you guys very much. We're gonna let you eat, and then, we'll bring up the other two pitches in just a few minutes. But go ahead and enjoy some conversation around the table, and we're gonna eat, and then, we'll get back to it in just a few minutes.